Bollywood to Hollywood with Rao Rampilla. This is a continuation of our discussion with Lorraine Condos, wife of famous Steve Condos, the tap dancer. Well, we explored some of his career accents last time. We'll see some of his performances. Hey, Lorraine.
Oh, hello, Ralph.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So he has some of his performances, right?
Well, actually, yes. We have a couple of clips, and I think you'll see an interview when he was on the set of Tap, the film Taps, the last film that he did, and that's with Gregory Hines. And
it was in 1988?
1988, right.
Okay. Can we run that clip, please?
My elder brother, Frank, who really went into it, he started teaching me. And then I was very lucky. I got into show business when I was about 14 years old. I replaced my brother Frank's place in the act called the Condos Brothers, and the act was already established, so I went right into the big time. And I was very bad because street dancing and stage dancing is two different things. On the stage, I mean, then I realized I wasn't a professional, but my brother, thank God, my brother Nick, had terrific pair of legs. He was a great dancer, and he did all the dancing, and he saved me from being, you know, I was a kid. I was cute. I was pigeon-toed, and whatever I did looked all right, you know. But he did the dancing. But then I played on the bill with some great acts, and I figured, well, I'm in good company, and I better start getting good. So I started practicing, and I haven't stopped until now. I haven't stopped to practice until this present day.
You dance every day?
I practice every day. Not because now, at this age that I'm at now, I'm 69 years old. I have nothing to prove, really, but I found out that this kind of dancing is such a great exercise for the body that instead of jogging or going to the gym or anything, I dance 3-4 hours a day, you know.
Yeah, all you guys look pretty good.
That we do. I mean, it's amazing. That's one of the best exercises in the world for the human body. This kind of dancing and swimming. Swimming are two great exercises. In the meantime, it's beautiful, it's interesting because you're improvising all the time and you're creating, so you feel like a composer. I feel like I'm Cole Porter, Jerome's Kearns, you know. You feel really like you're producing something, you know. You're creating something. Well, I'm a frustrated musician, you know, so I would, if I could do on the trumpet or on the piano what I do with my feet, I'd be much happier, I think. But since I can't do it, and I can do it with my feet, thank God for my feet.
Well, let me put it this way. Do you think tap dancers are dancers or are they musicians?
Well, you can't classify it as one thing. I mean, just like in anything, in my kind of dancing, I more or less stay in one spot. I would call myself a percussionist, like a drummer. He develops his wrists. I develop my ankles. So I don't do many body movements. I mean, I don't use my arms like a Fred Astaire or anything. I consider them dancers. In a way, I don't consider myself a dancer, period, you know, but I consider myself a percussionist. So I go more for sound. And I found out that going for sound, there's no limit to what you can do. You can go on forever, like music. There's no limit where music goes. Just when everybody thinks you can't do any more, somebody comes up with a new symphony or a new form of music or something. That's the way it is with the kind of dancing I do. There's no limit to where the sound can take you. And I wish I was 20 years younger or 30 years younger, because now I'm learning more about it than I did before, because I'm really into it now. I'm into the mathematics, the deep mathematics of it, and I see, boy, I wish I had the time to really develop and develop and develop. I'm finding new avenues, you know.
Tell me something. Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
Well, I actually have 4 children.
Mm-hmm. Do you have children with Steve, or
No,
they were all?
He had children by previous marriage, and my children are from previous marriage.
Mm-hmm.
He has his daughter Jennifer Condos is a noted rock and roll guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
She worked with the Ooh, gosh, the Eagles, Boss, I forget this fellow's name, Boss, something.
Did any of your children follow Steve's footsteps?
My daughter Diane has really studied a great deal with Steve. Both my son Daniel and my daughter had two other sons that were by a previous marriage. But Dan and Diane enjoyed Steve's mentorship. He was getting into something which he called double-digit dancing. So my daughter Diane and a young man, Marshall Davis Jr., who was recently seen at the Joyce with Saving Glover, and Sam Weber, who was a phenomenal dancer.
Are they his students?
They were his, particularly Marshall was his protege. Sam and Savion was in the film Tap, but not Sam Weber. But Sam and Savion were with the dancers in Lyon, France, when Steve passed away.
Hi, I'm Sam Weber. Steve Condos has had a profound influence on several generations of tap dancers, and his work has been very important to the way I practice, perform, and teach. What we wanted to give you in this tape was an idea of how you might use some of the rudiments that he cataloged in his first tape, and to give you, to stimulate your rhythmic imagination in ways of practicing. One of the most important applications that Steve developed was, as Lorraine said, double-digit dancing. Double digits is a great way to develop weight transference and the right touch, which was something that Steve was very adamant about. What we do in double-digit dancing is taking the initial elements that Steve outlined in his first tape, the 5 parts of the foot, the ball, the flat heel, the flat toe, the back heel, and the flat of the foot. We can transfer our weight on any of those, or we can do them without weight. So in other words, I can touch the ball or I can step on it. I can touch the heel or I can step on it. And when we get to double digits, we're doing doubles of each part of the foot, which involves a quick transfer of weight. Ball and heel, on the flat toe, on the flat heel, on the flat of the foot.
We would always practice them real slow. We always start off slow, because one of the other things that Steve would tell me in practicing that, if you practice it wrong, you will perform it wrong. And a lot of people are always amazed by how fast Steve could dance, but in actuality, in practicing, he would always start off very slow, make sure he knew what he was doing, his attack and approach and everything was correct, and then he would take it and speed it up. So in doing the double digits 4 to the side, practice it slow, then you may take it a little faster.
Hi, my name is Diane Reynolds. I'm the stepdaughter of Steve Condos, and today I'd like to demonstrate to you a few of the techniques that my father taught me while I was studying with him. One is his favorite thing, and that is using accents during dancing to blend in with improvisational jazz music. The other one is double digits, which is a manner of practicing that develops excellent technique. The first step is an 8-beat step, and I'm going to demonstrate fast and then slowly, first using the first accent and then the second accent. Just listen. Okay, now I'm going to show you that same step, but slowly. You see there's 8 beats, and the accent can be placed on any beat of the step, changing the whole sound. Now I'm going to show you the same step, but with double digits. slowly. I could do that a little bit faster maybe, but I first want to show you one more thing, and that is a little riff placed in front of the step, which gives you improvisation.
So he was interviewed by Ted Koppel,
Yes.
along
yes.
with Gregory Hines
And Sammy Davis Jr., right.
It was that movie. What is that movie?
It's called Tap.
Yeah. Can we have that clip?
From Washington, Ted Koppel. Forget the news. This program tonight has absolutely nothing to do with the news. A few weeks ago, we devoted one of these broadcasts to a uniquely American form of music called the blues. Those of us who worked on that program, and apparently many of you who watched it, enjoyed it a lot. So we thought that we'd try something similar again. Our focus tonight has its roots in the clog dancing of Northern Europe and the tribal dancing of Africa. But like the blues, it is uniquely American. Our focus tonight is tap. Gregory Hines, Sammy Davis Jr., and Steve Condos, performing with his father and uncle in the Will Maston Trio. He's been at it for some 60 years now. He's with us from our Los Angeles bureau. Gregory Hines, also in Los Angeles, started tap dancing professionally with his brother Maurice at the age of 3. His best-known roles to date are in the Cotton Club and with Mikhail Baryshnikov in White Nights. Steve Condos, who joins us from New York, was a relative latecomer, joining his brother in a tap dancing act at age 15. He has danced in 16 major musicals, and in the movie Tap, plays a veteran hoofer, which is what he is. And I guess, Steve, I might as well start with you. What's the difference between a hoofer and a tap dancer?
Well, a hoofer, I think, concentrates on rhythm rather than movement, and the movement comes unconscious. You know, you just think of rhythms. Like a jazz musician thinks of his solos when he's improvising. A hoofer improvises and he thinks of the rhythm, and if he thinks now and then of using his arms, he'll do it. Me, I forget to use my arms, so I'm just on the floor all the time.
I'll tell you what, the simplest way to do all of these things, and Steve, I want to start with you. Show me what hoofing is.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll pull the camera back and we'll do it.
I got it.
Now, Steve, I don't know if you can talk while you're doing that or just stop for a moment. What is the difference between that and tapping?
Well, there's all kinds of tapping. I don't know the others. I mean, I couldn't demonstrate it because, you know, they all that stuff.
All right, don't do that. Don't even try. Listen, we got a couple of kids who are trying to break into the business out in Los Angeles.
They know it better than I do.
Sammy, you want to show this man what tapping is, and while you're doing it, tell me what the difference is between tapping and hoofing.
Well, I think you saw Steve do shoulders, you know, while. Now, it wasn't for us until we saw the Nicholas brothers start doing this kind of thing as they would accent. Now, there's two different styles, but everyone in our film, as well as all of the buddies and friends, were hoofers. And we didn't do a lot of this. You know, we danced from here down, so it became... Go ahead. So that became what we call close rhythm.
But in the same interview, they had a challenge between Gregory
Yes.
and the Steve.
Right.
There was no challenge between Sammy Davis and the Steve, right?
No, not particularly. Actually, Sammy was the star in the film Tap, but Steve and Greg did the challenge dance, which you'll see.
Okay, let's see
here.
the challenge.
From New York to California.
Is what we're going to do is watch a challenge between Gregory Hines and Steve Condos. And Steve, you're going to pick it up, are you?
Okay.
Go for
Well,
it.
Steve,
Yeah?
Consider yourself challenged.
All righty.
Right.
Challenge!
So how about if I give you some time?
Give me some time.
Okay, so you take the first four.
Okay.
Time, 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 time. Yes, Steve. Let's pick it up a little here.
Okay.
So we'll go.
If Mr. Davis will permit here, I'm going to interrupt you guys just for a moment to say we're going to go away for. But you are sensational, both of you. And I'll tell you what, if we could just videotape after this show is over a little bit of that tap dancing, because we have some nights when things get real boring around here, and we might be able to slip it in.
Ed, you gonna join us?
I'll be dancing with my buns right here on the seat.
I was gonna do that.
Keep dancing, gentlemen. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to have you with us. Sammy Davis Jr., Gregory Hines, Steve Condos.
So who do you think has won? I mean, of course, you have your bias, but I bet Gregory did the better job, right?
Well, Gregory would concede to Steve for the mere fact that Gregory missed the time to come in. See, when Steve did the step, Gregory should have come in immediately. But Gregory didn't anticipate the time lag from New York to California.
So Steve is smarter, huh?
Right. Steve, you could never beat him on knowing time, musical time. Boxers studied dancing with him. Drummers, musicians studied dancing with him because of his phenomenal musical time. But he would do, and he may demonstrate here, where he does 5 taps on each foot on the ground. It's a very quick rhythm. It's a scrape and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and scrape 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Steve has a philosophy
Yes.
Like he says, you have to become the music,
Well,
like Louis Armstrong.
you become the music.
Oh, you become the music.
Yes, as a dancer, he feels that they become the music, they become the drummer, but to get there,
we
you
have
to
that
practice.
clip in his own words,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Can we
I
have
think
that
coming
one?
up.
Without music, I can go anywhere I want to. If I want to change tempo, I change tempo and get into another groove. And you go along. You become the soloist. You become Louis Armstrong. You become Dizzy Gillespie. You become Charlie Parker.
It's like a mantra.
Yes.
It's like you become one with the nature.
Exactly. With your
like-
inner self.
Yeah, inner self. It's like an acting.
Well, Steve he'd say, when you hit that groove, he'd say, it's a groove. It's like putting your hands through velvet.
I see. So he's also an actor, right?
Oh yes, Steve. If his feet didn't upstage him, Steve was a good actor, actually.
So you had a wonderful life with a wonderful artist,
Yes.
and you miss him.
Yes, I do. I've gotten over the. I'd say I've gotten
20
over
years.
20 years. I've gone through a lot of things just trying to survive myself. What he would tell me near the end, he'd say, just take care of yourself, baby. Don't worry about anybody else. You take care of you. Well, I've been trying.
You did very well.
Fairly well. And hopefully some very prominent person, filmmaker or director like Jonathan Demme or Kander or Robert Redford or Clint Eastwood will say, hey, we ought to do something and make a great music. This is Lyon, France. It's 1990. This is September 14th, opening night. And Steve opened with a number called You Must Be Leaving Spring by Michel Legrand. But we'll only see a short part of that, and then we go into Ain't Nothing but a Hoofer, which is the way Steve thought of himself. And that is the finale of of his performance on opening night.
Danse comme un percussionniste. C'est un musicien virtuose du tap. He is an extraordinary tapper who dances like a drummer, a virtuosic musician of tap. Mr. Steve Condos.
So this commemorates his memory.
Yes, yes.
Could we have the tape, please?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. With taps on my shoes, ain't nothing but a hoofer, and I dance to the blues. Yes, I can dance to any old beat, 'cause my brains are in my feet. Ain't nothing but a hoofer, with taps on my shoes, ain't nothing but a hoofer, and I dance to the blues. Yes, I can dance to any old beat, 'cause my brains are in my feet. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Steve Condos.
On September the 16th, Steve did his performance, and he walked from the stage, and he got to the dressing room, and he died.
I'm sorry for the loss. I'm glad that you brought the memories of Steve with you. Until next time.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.